Good evening. Happy midweek. Thanks for joining us tonight for Unscripted. A lot of news headlines to get to for really across the region. But first, we're going to check in on the weather to see what you can expect as we go on through the week. Joe, I have to say, I was loving seeing the sunshine today. I know not everyone saw sun, but this time of the year, we get even just a little bit of vitamin D.
Yeah, if you were lucky enough, yes, there was some sun out there today, which was nice. And the little window, that window is closing now, though. Of course, we're past sunset and clouds set to roll in tonight. But tomorrow is going to be a warm day.
Okay.
So we still have that if you're looking maybe for a little bit of that melting. It did kind of clean the roads up today.
It did. That was nice.
Yeah. It was
nice change. Yeah.
Pretty nice. But then that isn't going to last long either. Then we have some snow coming in. We'll take a look at that, when maybe the worst travel will be out there, and to look at all the way to Christmas Eve a little later.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Joe. A housing development that has been in the works for nearly 3 decades now may break some ground. The Dune Ridge at Betsy Bay Condos has a long history. Our Ellie Baxter looked into it, and she has the latest.
It took a long time. There's a lot of mediation components to it.
This area off Lake Street in Frankfort has been pitched as the site for condos since 1997. But in the 28 years since then, there's never been a groundbreaking or ribbon cutting to celebrate the arrival of more housing options.
Aside from a little bit of tree clearing and a little bit of grading work that has gone on, nothing has happened with this project.
That's because the original idea for the development, known as Fisherman's Landing, was only partially approved by the city's planning commission in the early 2000s. So the developer took the city to court.
Eventually, the city did settle, and in circuit court in November of 2009, a consent judgment agreement was entered in Benzie County Circuit Court.
A consent judgment holds the developer to a specific site plan, meaning what was approved in 2009 and later amended in 2019 is what has to be built. But despite the green light to move forward, nothing happened.
I think I reviewed Eagle DEQ water, sanitary sewer permits probably 4 or 5 different times throughout the life of the project.
Frankfort Superintendent Josh Mills says the original developer is in his 90s now. And in the last year, someone else purchased the property to develop. And it comes with a rebrand from Fisherman's Landing to Dune Ridge.
Where we're at right now, the attorney representing the developer and the attorney representing the city will work together to make sure that all of the criteria that was approved in the 2019 consent judgment amendment and the original consent judgment agreement in 2009 will be met.
The plan is to build 42 condo units. You can find some already for sale online at market rate.
We need a balance of housing. We also are having some discussions on whether or not we want this project to be within our downtown development authority boundaries, because it could yield some opportunities with new growth that could help us subsidize and create additional housing.
Mills says he's seen comments from people asking for the city to deny the development moving forward. He wants people to know because of the legal history, the city isn't in a position to do that.
The city's hands are tied, in essence. It's the circuit court consent judgment agreement is binding. As I mentioned, there's no statute of limitations associated with that.
That was Ellie Baxter reporting. Again, any changes that are different from the site plan agreed to in the consent judgment have to be amended and then go back before a judge for approval. Joshua Mills says if the city has an opportunity to sit down with the developer to make sure changes align with the judgment, they plan on doing that. The Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians has announced that Northwestern Michigan College in Traverse City is giving serious consideration to the tribe's offer to buy the Boardman Lake Ottawa River campus building. The tribe wants to repurpose that facility as a centralized governmental services center dedicated to delivering programs and services for Grand Traverse County and the surrounding region. The tribe says a centrally located campus would improve access to essential tribal services, enhance coordination across tribe departments, and better meet the needs of the tribal community. UpNorthLive's Cody Bear joins us with more on this collaboration and really what it means for the tribe. Now, Cody, NMC is giving serious consideration to the tribe's offer to buy the campus building, but how would this actually benefit the tribe?
Yeah, so a lot of the things you mentioned, but I spoke with the tribe's chairperson, and a lot of what she told me was it's a centralized location. The tribe currently has about 4,000 members, and around about a little bit more than 800 of those are in Traverse City. And it's the most, or in Grand Traverse County rather, and it's the most in their 6-county region. So the biggest thing for them is a centralized location where they can have a lot of those services that you mentioned.
And why is now a good time, or the right time really, for the tribe to make an offer with something like this with NMC?
Yeah, the chairperson thought it was a great opportunity for this land and for this building. And something that makes it the right time for them, I'm told, is they currently have an admin building in Traverse City. But they said with, about 800 people here that are members with this community, they've outgrown that space and that administration building. So it is time to move to a bigger one. And they think that opportunity is at this one.
What about the importance when it comes to the land and then the property? How does that impact the tribe?
Yeah, Chairwoman Wilson told me that, as we know, a lot of this land has deep history with the tribe in Grand Traverse County, and this one is no different. And an important note to go along with that is the chairperson told me there's no developments planned past what that building already is. They want to preserve that land because it does mean a lot to them. So outside of what that building already is and what it'll be used for, there's no planned developments on top of that.
And we obviously have not heard from the college yet, but what are the next steps in this process, Cody?
Yeah, so last Monday, the College Board of Trustees held a meeting, and during that meeting, they essentially gave the president of the university the permission to negotiate. So that's where we're at now. Nothing in this is completely official. The tribe tells me that shows that, the negotiations are serious and they're taking the offer seriously. But that's where we are right now. And what the next steps are just the negotiation process.
Okay. Cody, thank you for the update. And of course, we will keep you posted on this developing story and much more when we get those details. Of course, you can find more information on our website, UpNorthLive.com. $500,000. It's a significant amount of money, especially for Northern Michigan nonprofits, even if it's divided up amongst 13 of them. That's what was approved this morning at the Grand Traverse County Commissioners meeting. The money from a single source adult use marijuana sales, but the impact will be far reaching. Our Mark Shillette reports.
For a couple of hours, Juliet Schultz sat patiently while Grand Traverse County Commissioners clicked through their agenda, waiting for an opportunity to approach the podium and pass along a simple message to commissioners.
Thank you so much for prioritizing survivors of domestic and sexual violence.
Prioritizing to the tune of $50,000 for Schultz and the Women's Resource Center to use to help cover some of the cost of operating Helen's House, their often at-capacity emergency shelter for domestic and sexual violence survivors.
We have it staffed 24/7, and we do not disclose the location for obvious reasons. We are housing victims of crime. And so we are raising money every year to keep our shelter open. So this really helps us fill the gap that is left.
$50,000, about 1/5 the money needed to operate Helen's House for a year. A significant amount on paper, but perhaps even more significant in practice.
That grant alone will provide about 357 nights of shelter, which is phenomenal.
Phenomenal and possible thanks to what a decade ago would have seemed like an improbable source of revenue for the county.
We were one of the lucky 13 recipients of the marijuana funding that the county has granted.
At Wednesday's commission meeting, approval of $500,000 in adult use marijuana funds to a handful of successful grant applicants.
It took quite a few meetings. We had about 3 meetings where we worked through the applicants. We read through all the great applications that were received.
In total, 81 applicants were whittled down to 13, receiving grants ranging from $20,000 to $80,000.
It's wonderful to be able to serve our community and help the ones in need. It's difficult and hard to see that there's so much need in our community that's not being fulfilled. Honored to be able to get that money out to those 13.
Those 13 scored the highest on the county's matrix that weighed a variety of different factors. A broad spectrum of organizations and missions reflected by the successful 13, all with one thing in common: a need in order to do what they do best.
I think we at the Women's Resource Center recognize that the community is with us. And when the commissioners make a decision to fund 13 very important community services, and we're one of them, we're super grateful for that.
That was Up North Live's Mark Shillette reporting. Now, in total, the county received more than $931,000 in marijuana funds. They granted out $500,000. The remaining $431,000 will be spent internally to fund future facilities, renovations, remodeling, or new construction projects, which fall under the strategic plan goal. Well, you may not be able to ride Santa's sleigh to the North Pole this year, but he has sent a special antique train for you. The North Pole Express offers visitors the chance to ride in their very own Polar Express to the Christmas village of Ashley. And this week's Exploring Michigan, Colin Roos takes us to Owasso for a look inside.
The Steam Railroading Institute in Owasso operates the 84-year-old locomotive, the largest ever used in Michigan, to take riders on a nostalgic trek to a World War II-era Christmas. Conductors dressed in hats and jackets called the All Aboard for passengers, welcoming them to a car with red leather seats and the spirit of holidays long past. It was a trip we couldn't miss, so we got a ticket for the 5 o'clock train and stepped inside. The trip goes from Owasso to Ashley, about a 35-minute journey by car. On this ride, passengers get to enjoy the sight of tinsel, ornaments, and endless hot chocolate. Attendants walked up and down the aisles, starting Christmas sing-alongs and handing out a series of Santa's gifts as riders passed the time phone-free. Under bright lights and wreaths, parents and children told us their favorite parts of the North Pole Express experience.
We love hot chocolate, we love the Polar Express, and this is the original Pierre Marquette 1225, and that's a win in my book.
I'm excited if there's going to be snow.
The train isn't just a look-alike for the one in the 2004 Tom Hanks movie. It was used to model the animation. The bell ringing and the steam in the film were taken from the 1225, and locomotive enthusiast Roger Scoville says it was just fate it happened to be named after the date of Christmas.
When people watched the movie, except for the whistle, all of the other train sounds were recorded in Owasso from this locomotive.
Built in Lima, Ohio, the Pierre Marquette was in service from 1941 to the early 50s when railroads converted from steam to diesel power. It then sat in a scrapyard before Michigan State University students completed a 10-year restoration effort. The Steam Railroad Institute sought out retired engineers to teach them the lost art of steam conducting.
Chemistry, water treatment, and keeping the water in the boiler at a neutral state so it doesn't etch away the steel parts of our boiler.
By 7 o'clock, the passengers reached their destination to spend an evening in a winter wonderland, telling St. Nick what they want under the tree, sampling maple snow taffy, and starting their Christmas shopping. They even walked through a village within the village, a massive model train set with engine zooming by children who watched with their eyes aglow. One boy was thrilled to find the miniature Polar Express zooming the tracks.
It's our third year doing it, so he continues to want to come back every year. He loves it so much. It's magic.
Thanks to Colin Roos for that story. Definitely one that gets you into the holiday spirit. Switching gears, taking a look at our question of the day. Speaking of the holiday, how many holiday cards do you send, if you send any at all? We want to know. Check out our Facebook page, Up North Live, and our website, UpNorthLive.com, to leave a vote. We will check on those live results. Please leave your comments as well, and we will read some of those coming up a little bit later in the show. All right, to see if we'll see some more sunshine tomorrow, maybe even a little bit more melting, we're going to check in with Joe coming up after the break.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Unscripted. Some areas did see a little bit of, I was going to say snow, did see some snow, but sun today, that's what I meant. It was short-lived. It was nice to see some of that vitamin D out there. Joe, definitely not something that we're probably going to see for tomorrow or the rest of the week.
Yeah. Probably not. I'm trying to think ahead, like when we maybe early next week.
Okay.
Perhaps a little bit of sunshine, but we did get a little bit this evening. The sun has set now. We're going to see clouds rolling in overnight tonight. Take a look at this. This was last night. We had snow rollers, which you get once or twice a winter. I think I get pictures of these, but you have to have the right combination of things to happen. You have to have temperatures in the low to mid 30s. You also have to have winds around 30 miles per hour so that they don't blow completely apart, but they get blown across the yard. And we saw that at Sutton's Bay. And then David and Hidley Finley took this west of Petoskey. Look how many, even off in the distance. Interesting view. You wake up in the morning or you head outside and what happened? Anyway, that's interesting. That was last night here in northern Michigan. All right, here's what's going on. We did clear skies out for a while, and they still are. You know, you draw a line there, Traverse City to Alpena. South of there, skies are still clear, but clouds are rolling in, and that's our next system out west. A lot of wind. All those brown shaded areas are high wind advisories. The red areas around Bismarck and areas north of there, that's blizzard warnings with some snow up there around Winnipeg tonight. And all that is tracking toward us. So tomorrow we are going to be in the warm day ahead of the front. And then tomorrow night, we're going to get in the backside of this with the cold air coming in into Friday. So here's what happens tonight. We cloud up. We couldn't even see a couple rain or snow showers generally north of Gaylord tonight. And then tomorrow, showers. It's going to be warm enough for just rain. There will not be any snow tomorrow, at least during the daylight hours. And then, kind of a soggy afternoon. That's around 3:30 tomorrow. Then the cold air arrives. Our front sweeps in here, and there we go. We start to see the switch over around 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And then the changeover is complete by Friday morning. Keep in mind, we don't not only have the snow coming in Friday morning, but we also have all that rain freezing up on the roadways Thursday night, kind of what we call a flash freeze, with that snow combined. So Friday morning could be a bit of a rough go in spots. But in this particular case, this scenario, the snow doesn't last long, though. It comes to an end Friday afternoon. We do expect another round, though, perhaps on Saturday. So here's what we're talking about. You can see why we have rain tomorrow. Look at the temperatures. Of course, 32 being freezing. We're well above that. And there we are on Friday, 24 hours later, teens and low 20s. So kind of a flash freeze coming in Thursday night through Friday. The worst travel will be Thursday night into Friday morning, but still even Saturday, some snow showers hanging around here if you do have travels around the north. And there's a look at our forecasts for the weekend. Snow showers are likely Saturday, low and mid-30s, and then colder weather briefly Sunday, and that'll kick up a little bit of scattered lake effect snow with low 20s Sunday. So tonight, 20 to 32, temperatures actually rise a little bit late tonight. Clouds are turning with a light rain, kind of snow mix north, south winds. And then tomorrow, warm weather, highs in the 40s. Freeport, St. Ignace, Mackinac Island, 45. Morning showers to afternoon rain. Petoskey, 46. Grayling, 47. So we are going to get melting tomorrow. It also will be windy. The wind out of the south. Morning showers giving way to afternoon rain. And here's our last stop. Widespread 40s, 50 at Clare. Morning showers to afternoon rain. Looking ahead, snow Saturday, snow showers Sunday. Right now, Wednesday next week, that is Christmas Eve. And right now it looks pretty quiet with highs in the 30s.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Coming up in sports, Ferris State is getting set to contend for another national championship this weekend. Sports Director Harrison Beebe will bring us the latest on the Bulldogs coming up next. Welcome back to Unscripted for this Wednesday evening. Sports Director Harrison Beebe joins us now with more on Ferris State and the national championships. Hey, Harrison.
That's right, Melissa. One win to go before they can officially win the national title. That will, of course, be up for grabs on Saturday. The neutral site down in McKinney, Texas. The Bulldogs going for a 4th national title in 5 years, going up against a Harding team that conveniently enough has helped fill that void. The one title the Bulldogs didn't win back in 2023, that was won by Harding. So we've got the last 2 national champions, winners of all of the last 5 to be played since 2021. So a lot at stake here for these two. Ferris, I'm going to call them a dynasty, and Harding attempting to be a dynasty if they can win tonight or this weekend. Head coach Tony Annese of the Ferris State Bulldogs, he talked to the media this week about this year's team, and it's kind of interesting to note, a lot of times you think with good recruiting and national championships, these routine successful championship runs can happen every year. But he thought last year, losing a bunch of players to the transfer portal and to Division I, this might not happen, but things worked out for the best.
This has been a great year, probably one of my best ever, because, after winning it last year, there's a portrait in our hallway, national championship portraits. And as I walk by that, I see our guys celebrating with a trophy last year, and 4 of the faces were all supposed to return, and they ended up going somewhere else, got in the portal and left. So we lost 8 guys to the portal to FBS schools. And so last spring, I'm like, can we even be good? And then here we go again with the guys just, being so determined and so connected with each other. And I've said it to you guys before, but the catalyst of our greatness is love, and they just love each other and want to fight for each other and play for each other. And here we are going back to McKinney.
As I mentioned, that game being played down in McKinney, Texas. And Melissa, just to hammer home how good last year's team was, the quarterback of last year's national championship team, Trinidad Shameless, he transferred to Ole Miss in the SEC, one of the dominant conferences for Division I college football. And they are one of the 12 teams in the college football playoff going to the field this weekend. And Trinidad's their starting quarterback.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks, Harrison. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the live results for our question of the day. So if you have not done so already, check out our Facebook page and our website, Up North Live. Let us know your thoughts, and we will check in with your responses coming up.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Unscripted. We are taking a look at that question of the day. How many holiday cards do you send? And right now it looks like most people, don't send any. 46% saying they don't send any. 23% say 25 or more. That's a great number. Darlene chiming in saying, I sent about a dozen, way less than I used to. Barbara says 45. Red says 0. Some people don't send any. Amanda says none. But I do want to get to one that's Mary Beth says 100. Can't seem to break that tradition. You go, Mary Beth. 100. I give you credit. That is incredible. Check out our question if you have not done so already. Go to our Facebook page and our website, Up North Live. And we hope to see you back here for Up North Live News at 11. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a fantastic evening.